All right, let's see if we are live now. Um, Give me a second. Yes, we are live. So, we will be talking about Project Charter today. That's the topic of this video, Project Charter. And we have been actually covering a lot of ground when it comes to elementary and fundamental topics of project management. This is all based on your feedback. This is all based on what you have been asking us to do. So we are covering Project Charter today, but I would also like to remind you that in the past we have covered very important and elementary topics like some of the basics of project management, what is a PMO or the project management office, as well as business case. And today we are covering Project Charter. The links to all these three videos are available in the description itself if you want to go over any of these prior to watching this session or even after watching this session. And you can always go to the live section of our YouTube channel to check out all the live videos that we do on, we try to do it every week, and we cover a lot of different types of topics. I've always mentioned that there are two ways that we help our community members. One is from being a PMP or any other project management aspirant, right? A budding project manager, so to say, to becoming a certified PMP or a certified project manager. That is just one level. The second level is from being a certified project manager to an expert in the field, right? And these live sessions, we talk about a lot of practical insights, practical examples. And even though these are very basic topics, but even if you are an expert project manager, it is always good to refresh your memory, to sort of brush up your skills and get back to the basics to understand what our roots are. All right, a quick overview about me. I have been managing projects since 2011. I got my PMP in 2016, and here are some of the other certifications that I have. I have been a speaker, mentor, consultant for several organizations that are listed here. Okay, what about PMC Lounge? PMC in PMC Lounge stands for Project Management Certifications, but beyond certifications, we want to simplify project management. That's the goal. So definitely consider subscribing. We are also available on the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. A lot of people give me a feedback that I tend to call this Instagram, but this is not Instagram, this is LinkedIn. So you can search for us. Our handle is PMC Lounge on these three social media channels. And then we are also available on Telegram and WhatsApp if you want to stay in the know when it comes to our updates, things that we want to share with our community members. It's a fantastic community of experienced project managers, budding project managers, PMP certified professionals, and whatnot. So definitely check that out. And with that being clear, let's go over the agenda for today. So, first, we will define what a project charter is. And I would just like to remind you, if you've forgotten, we are covering project charter today. So, we'll define what a project charter is. We will understand why it is such an important document in the realm of project management. Then we'll explore the key basics that you must know about a project charter, especially if you are preparing for the PMP exam. This video is going to really be helpful for you. If you're not preparing, if you're already PMP certified, still you will get to know, you will be able to brush up your skills on project charter, and you'll be able to identify if you're missing out on any key components, any core elements of the project charter, or if you're doing something wrong so far on your projects. Finally, we will summarize and we'll look at the key takeaways from this session. So let's start things off with what a project charter really is. It is a formal document that authorizes the project. The project charter is a formal agreement, and it is very important to note this, that it is a formal agreement. This is not something that can be, just shared over an email, right? An email is the project charter, or you chat with your team and based on the AI summary of that chat, or you just had a Zoom call and based on the AI summary of the Zoom call, you say that this is what we consider the project charter. That's not how it works. It is good for brainstorming all these communication, but when it comes to project charter, it is a formal agreement, and this signals the official start of a project. So you can think of it as the project's birth certificate. Without it, a project cannot begin, right? So a project charter is the birth certificate of your project, as simple as that. Now, it also names the project manager and outlines high level scope. The charter includes the name of the project manager, giving them the authority to lead the project. So, anytime somebody comes to you and questions your position, or questions your accountability towards the project, they should be referring to the project charter, because that's where it says in black and white, in bold letters, and not necessarily all capitals, but it says project manager is equals to so and so, right? Whatever your name is. So that's the document that authorizes the project manager. It also provides a high level view of what the project is going to do, what are the goals and intended outcomes of the project. So that's something that is available in this document as well. Project charter also sets project boundaries and deliverables. So in addition to what the project goals are, what the project is supposed to do, it also sets the project boundaries. At a high level, it is also going to show what the project is not going to do, right? So that's the boundaries, or I would say you can think of it like how it defines the limits of the project, what's in scope and what's not in scope. It also talks about the key outputs or key deliverables of the project, and all of this helps ensure everyone is on the same page from the beginning itself. So that's what project charter is in a nutshell. Now, why does this matter? Why should you have a project charter? Why can't you just, sort of work towards creating a project plan itself, or just go with the business case? We talked about business case in one of our previous videos, and I mentioned how business case can actually be a part of the project charter itself. But why project charter matters? Let's talk about that. So it officially initiates the project. As we mentioned earlier, this is the birth certificate of the project. So the charter is going to give the formal go ahead to begin the work. It's often signed by the sponsor or initiator, such as a company executive, to authorize resources and effort. Who is a sponsor? In simple terms, sponsor is the person who is sponsoring your project, who is financing your project. And project charter is where they sign and they authorize to make use of the resources that they want to spend or invest on your project. Project charter also grants authority to the project manager. So, without a charter, the project manager does not have the authority to assign tasks, to manage resources, or make decisions. The charter is what empowers the project manager to do all of this. It also aligns stakeholders on project goals. So, by outlining the project's purpose and expectations, the charter ensures that everyone, be it the sponsor or the team members, right? Everyone should share the same vision. That is what the project charter ensures. And that is why project charter is important. That is why it matters. A quick reminder about our PM 101 training session. It is an absolute legend. This is the highest viewed project management basics training video on YouTube. You can check out the link in the description below once you are done watching this session. All right, let's talk about the key basics of project charter. So, charter exists for projects, programs, and portfolios. Now, you might wonder, well, we are talking about project charter. How come programs and portfolios are part of it? That's because this is a general statement that I wanted to make so that you are aware of the fact that in addition to project charter, if you are a program manager tomorrow, or if you are a portfolio manager day after tomorrow, you will see documents like a program charter, a portfolio charter, right? So charters exist for everything: projects, programs, as well as portfolio. So while our focus in this video is just project charter, it is important to know that charters also apply at the program and portfolio level. Each type authorizes work at its respective scale. So, at the scale of the program, right, you need a program charter, you need the name of the program manager, and obviously, the scale that we are looking at is pretty large as compared to a project charter and a project, the scale of the project basically. And it goes up if we talk about portfolio charter. Now, this is created early in the project lifecycle. So we come back to the project charter now. This was just a point that I wanted to make to let you know that you can also see program charter and portfolio charter in your career on real life programs, projects, and portfolios. Some projects can refer to the program charter also because they are part of the larger program. Now, project charter, in this point, we are back to project charter. Project charters are created early in the project life cycle. So, this is actually one of the first things that is developed. It is often created before detailed planning begins, and it serves as a bridge between the idea phase or the ideation phase and the execution phase of the project. It names the project manager and defines their authority, something that we talked about in the previous slide also. The charter names who is in charge, who is the project manager, and it also describes the level of decision making power that they have. As an example, you will see project charters on real life projects that even go to the extent of declaring that the high level budget of the project is, let's say, 100,000 US dollars, up to 100,000, up to 1,000 US dollars. The project manager has the authority to take decisions, to take a call, and to spend it on any activity, right? So that is also something that even project charters can actually explicitly mention and share. It can be drafted by the project manager or the sponsor. Now, this is important because at one hand, we say that project charter is declaring or is authorizing the project manager. Then how come project manager himself or herself is drafting the project charter? But it happens on real life projects. You will see that project manager is the one who is drafting the project charter. Sometimes it could be the sponsor also. Most of the time, sponsor does not have the time to write a project charter, right? So they don't draft the project charter. So project manager, in most cases, might help to create that charter, but the sponsor is, even if the sponsor is not creating it, they are obviously going to approve it. They are obviously going to sign off on the project charter. In some cases, it may be handed directly to the project manager that, hey, this is the project charter. You are the project manager. It is mentioned on the project charter. Your name is mentioned on the project charter. Here's your project charter. Start working on the project. So that is also possible. In some cases, project manager directly gets handed the project charter. High level document with minimal updates. This is again an important point. Project charter is not something which changes on your day to day or week to week basis. It is a very high level document. It doesn't have a lot of nitty gritties, it doesn't have a lot of details. It only has high level details, and that is why it does not change often. So, unlike something like a project plan, which actually evolves, the charter is not updated frequently. It is a very high level document. It is a stable reference throughout the project lifecycle. In fact, if something is changing in the project charter, you can assume that it's a massive change in your project itself, which is causing a change in the project charter. So it's not like it's set in stone and cannot be changed. It can be changed, but considering how it is a high level document, it is very possible it is very likely that it will never change, or if it changes, it basically signifies a strong shift in the way you were delivering your project, right? Or in your scope, or anything which is going to be big in your project, right? That's why project charters change. Otherwise, they don't. Let's talk about the core elements of the project charter. So, if you were to see a document, the project charter document, what all are the core elements or the different sections in the project charter that you're going to see? So that's what we are going to be talking about in this slide. So project description, or the purpose of the project, this is most likely the first section of your project charter. It is a description or the purpose of the project. This is going to outline why the project exists. It is going to summarize the goals without diving into the technical solution, right? So this is just the description, just the purpose of why your project exists. High level project requirements. So not the nitty gritties here, right? It's just high level project requirements. So these are the basic expectations from what the project must deliver. So just the basic expectations. For example, launching a mobile app that allows users to shop and pay online. As simple as that. Launching a mobile app that allows users to shop and pay online. What kind of technology will be used? What will be the target market? What will be the kind of stuff sold, inventory, stuff like that? None of that is part of Project Charter, right? It is such high level detail here. So, very high level project requirements. Now, I think you can now think how a change in this, right? Like the project charter, the high level requirement is that within the mobile app, the users should be able to shop and pay online. If anything changes here, if something here changes, like the users should be able to shop offline and pay online or something like that, right? We are changing the whole direction of the project itself, and that is why project charters rarely change, and that is why they are they have such high level requirements. Assigned project manager, that is again one of the element of the project charter. You will see that the charter is going to clearly name who the project manager is. It is also going to sometimes name what their authority level is. This eliminates confusion about leadership right from the start. Now, schedule summary and major milestones. So the charter may note key deadlines or go live targets as well. Instead of detailed dates like, when will coding be complete, when will testing begin, when will design be complete, all that might not be part of the project charter, but key deadlines, go live date, right? And even with go live dates, I have seen project charters that instead of mentioning 21st of February 2028 is when we need to go live, it will just say first quarter of 2028 is our go live expectation, right? So project charter, even in terms of the dates, is going to be at a very high level. And obviously you're not going to see a lot of detailed milestones. It will often refer to months or quarters, as I mentioned, right? So it can say first quarter of 2028, or February 2028, but it will never say 21st of February 2028 at 4 p.m. is when we are going to go live, right? So things like these is not something that you can expect or see in the project charter. Business case and value proposition. So this is the why of your project. Why are you actually doing the project? That's what business case is. And we did a video previously talking just about business case. That whole business case can be part of the project charter itself. So you don't necessarily need a separate business case document and a separate project charter. It is very possible that within the project charter you have 2 pages, 1 pages, 1 paragraph of business case as well. So that is one of the core elements of the project charter. I've seen that if business case is a separate document in a project, then the project charter actually just links to the business case, right? So that is also possible. In most of the projects that I have handled, I have seen that business case is actually part of the project charter itself. Even if it's a separate document, sometimes a summary of the business case is part of the project charter. So as I mentioned, this is the why of your project. It can include things like return on investment, it can include things like KPIs, strategic goals behind the project, and it is obviously going to answer the question, why is the company or the sponsor investing the efforts, the resources on this project. So this is a very important and core element of the project charter. Next, any additional elements like assumptions or constraints is also part of the project charter. Now think of it like these, right? So you can think of this as extra context which is being provided. For example, assuming the team will be available, right? So this is something that the project charter is going to mention, that we assume that the team is available 5 days a week for the next 12 months during the course of the project, right? So that's something, it is something which is very high level. It's not like, it's when it says something like this, it basically means that we don't assume that team members won't be available. We don't assume that some of your key people are not going to be available for the first 3 months of the project, right? So those kind of key assumptions are also part of the of the project charter, that say that we assume the leadership is going to be available whenever required. We assume the steering committee is going to be available whenever required. So that's something the project charter can actually explicitly mention. It can also mention like the cap of the budget of the project, right? So we are talking about business case here. It answers the question, why the company or the sponsor is spending money on this project. The project charter can also, as a constraint, mention that the maximum cap of this project is 100,000 US dollars. We do not want to spend more than 100,000 US dollars on this project over the course of next 12 months or 2 years or 3 years, whatever, right? So that high level detail can also be mentioned in the project charter. Now, it is possible that when you discuss the details of the project, when you get down into the nitty-gritties, you realize that this project is not something which is going to be completed in 100,000 US dollars, and we need actually 150,000 US dollars. And then you go back to your sponsor and you tell them why you need 50% more than what was initially thought about. You explain your business case, you present your case, you explain why this budget has increased so drastically in your planning itself. And then based on that, either the sponsor sticks to what is written in the project charter, and that is that this is the maximum that we can afford to spend on this project. Beyond this, maybe there's no ROI to do this project, so they junk the project. That is also possible. So that means the project never goes beyond the planning and ideation phase itself. It got junked there because the budget was actually much higher. The budget requirement was much higher than what was initially thought of. So that is also possible, right? So things like these happen beyond the project charter, but at a high level, a very high level, assumption and constraint is written and present in the project charter itself. I'd like to also remind you about our playlist section, which is where you will find an absolute gold when it comes to your PMP certification preparation. So all our conceptual videos are neatly organized in playlists. If you're preparing for the exam, definitely check this out. Okay, so let's look at the key takeaways from this video. What have you learned? What have we covered so far when it comes to project charter? The charter is the foundation of any project. Without the project charter, there is no formal start. It's the first step in structured project management. It is the birth certificate of a project. Without the birth certificate, the project is not going to start, right? So this is the foundation of any project out there. If you are assigned a project that doesn't have a project charter, please ask for it. It is likely that nobody shared the project charter with you and it was just discussed amongst the higher ups, right? So if you are assigned a project, definitely look at the project charter, ask for the project charter, go over the project charter. And if your project does not have a project charter, then create one. Let me know in the comments, have you ever seen a project charter? Have you ever created a project charter? Have you ever worked on a project that did not even have a project charter? Okay, it gives the project manager the authority to lead. The charter empowers the project manager to assign tasks, manage budgets, and make decisions. It provides alignment and clarity from the start. So, with the project charter, everyone knows what the project is about, who is leading it, as in who is the project manager, and what success looks like, because the goals of the project, the deliverables of the project, the high level budget of the project, the high level date by when you are expected to complete the project, everything is mentioned in the project charter. So you as a project manager should definitely have access to it, but you should make it a point that in your project kickoff meeting you ask everyone to go over at least the most important sections of the project charter, because you want your team to be aligned, you want your team to know what this project is all about. So it is an important document. It is something that you as a project manager should ensure everyone has access to at all times. It is a high level, not a detailed plan. So again, the charter is only going to show a very high level, the big picture, right? This is all about the big picture. Detailed planning happens later in the project life cycle, and that's the example that I gave, right? So if it is it is possible that your project charter mentions 100,000 US dollar budget and you require 150,000 US dollar later in your planning stage is when you get to know it. It is possible that the project gets chunked, or it is possible that the sponsor approves of an increase in the budget. And in that case, the project charter actually changes. You change the project charter and update the new numbers that the budget of this project is capped at 150,000 US dollars, right? So that's something, those are the kind of changes that happen in the project charter. So the important point, the important takeaway is it is not a detailed plan. It is a very high level plan, which is not likely to change. And if it does, it is a major shift in the project. Okay, with that, we come to an end of this video. And before I let you go, I would like to remind you about our VIP Pass YouTube membership program. You get access to premium project management courses. There are collaboration opportunities, and you can virtually meet for consultation with me. So you will have a join button. Sometimes you see a subscribe plus button because YouTube likes to sort of move things around. But definitely consider getting yourselves the VIP Pass membership, because it's full of extremely useful perks that can help you grow in your career as well as your certification journey. So that's all that we had in this video. I hope you got value out of it. Let me know in the comments if you have ever worked on the project charter, or if you have an interesting story to share about the project charter. Definitely keep learning by checking out our other videos. And my only call to action would be to subscribe to this channel. It helps us stay motivated and create more free content for you. I'll catch you guys in the next one.